Hey.
So this is take 3 of the recap for Philpott Lake trip, which was our second trip that we took about a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
We were gonna do a recap, and then life happened, and then Christmas lights, and
Planning for the trip that we're just coming back from.
yeah,
Yeah.
fun
Squirrel.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So we took a trip up to Martinsville, Virginia. A little bit south of there is a little lake called Philpott Lake, Philpott Campground. Great little place. As a word to the wise, forewarning, most of the towns around Philpott Lake area are cash only towns.
So if you're like us and you never have cash.
Right, and there's not really many ATMs available.
So
Gas is like 10 cents more expensive
yeah,
if you
I remember
use
that.
a card.
Yeah.
So, and you need cash to get into Philpott Lake
pay
to camp
for
in the campground.
Yeah.
So we planned on getting money out, and we didn't. And then we're like, well, we'll do it later, and we didn't.
And we didn't.
And we're gonna do it later, and then we didn't. And then we got literally to the road that it's on and realized we didn't get cash.
There's no life civilization here.
Yeah, it was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So we found the nearest town, which I don't remember what it is right now.
That didn't happen right away because we didn't have a GPS signal.
Oh yeah, we didn't have
Yeah,
GPS signal at that point.
So we had to keep driving
So
until
we just
got
kind
a
of
GPS
decided, okay,
signal.
well, left is the lake and a dead end, so we're going right. And we turned right and drove for miles, and
yeah.
eventually got to the end, and we turned left, figuring that we came
because
from
we
the
did
right.
see a Dairy Queen ahead. We're like, oh, Dairy Queen, there's civilization.
Oh yeah, on the GPS.
Maybe there's an ATM.
Yep.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we started going towards Dairy Queen, and eventually got there, and it was really good food.
Yeah.
And
Decided might as well eat there.
customer service was really, really good. Cashier was really friendly.
Very sweet.
All of the people, as we're walking in, were very polite. One of the other customers there had heard that we were going to Philpott Lake, and she was telling us how, you know, her and her husband and everything go out there a lot, and that we'll really like it, and
yeah,
just really, really nice people in that whole town. So there was a BB&T bank.
But it could have been the only ATM in that area.
Yeah.
So.
That did have a working ATM.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were able to get out some cash, and then we started driving back to the lake. And it was dark at this point, even though we originally were on track to be there, get the kayak set up, paddle across the lake to the island we were staying on,
Get the hammock set up,
all before dark.
Because we knew rain was coming.
It's because we knew rain was coming as well.
Yep.
But our failure to plan, always plan too much but never actually plan anything
Right.
planned.
And it always like creates an emergency on our part.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It was dark.
Yeah, so it was dark, and we're like, well, surely we only turned once.
We got this.
We
We
should
don't
be
need
able
GPS.
to find a sign that says Philpott Lake.
Yeah. Who needs a stinking GPS?
And so there was a sign that said Philpott Lake,
Right.
2 miles,
Yeah.
and it was right next to a road.
But we were sure it meant ahead 2 miles.
Yeah, because there was no arrow to
Right,
turn
there
right.
was-
It was
you
just
just-
Philpott Lake, 2
yeah,
miles. So
right.
it led you to believe that it was 2 miles away. So we drove about 4 miles.
And finally, I'm like, brother?
Yeah. So I think we have a problem.
think we should pull over.
Yeah, so we pulled over, we got the GPS out, and realized that we had indeed gone about 4 miles too
Out
far.
of the way, so 4 miles back.
Yep. And then we turned on.
Here was that sign.
Yeah, well, and coming back the other way, the sign had an arrow to
Right.
go left.
Yeah, true.
So we turned left, we got to the lake, we paid,
Yeah.
and saw some firewood on the way there at the entrance, but kept on driving down.
Right.
set up the kayaks in the dark.
Which you should talk about our kayak.
Yeah, so we have Oru kayaks, which are the origami style folding kayaks. They fold up into, I don't know, it's about 2 foot by 2.5 foot by a foot box, which are great kayaks if you don't have a vehicle that you can put the kayaks on top of, or you can tow the kayaks on a trailer. I used to have a Toyota Corolla when I got them, and so I could fit 2 kayaks in the back in the trunk, and then another one in the back seat, and that way I could bring, you know, 2 of the kids with me to go kayaking. So they are really great for what they are. They get you out on the water, comfortable enough, but you know, they're definitely, you know, beginner kayaks that are really expensive.
And for short distance.
Yeah, short distance.
Yeah, very short distance.
Beginner kayaks that are really expensive, but if that's the only option you have, then it definitely works. However,
That being said,
they're not good for camping because in order to store your gear, you have to put them inside of the kayak before you fold it up. And the bulkheads in the front and the back aren't completely waterproof, so you are going to have a couple inches of water on the bottom of your kayak just from the normal rowing and tripping off your paddles or whatever, which we knew, we planned for. So we had dry bags to keep all the stuff, you know, dry that needed to be dry. So we put everything inside the bulkheads, put the kayaks all together, which takes about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes maybe for both of them. Paddled about the 200 yards or so across
to the island.
About a 10-minute paddle.
Yeah.
Because you have to go down the island as well. We had the whole island to ourselves at that point, which was nice.
Yeah, because we got there Friday night. It's a first come, first served island, just so you know, you can't make reservations, so.
Then we got onto the island and realized, well, the rain's coming, and in order to get our backpacks out, we have to break down the entire kayaks
Both of them.
to get stuff out. So
Now we're racing the clock.
yeah, now we're racing the clock. So I dragged the kayaks up to where we found a campsite in the dark, found a couple of trees. Took the kayaks apart in the dark. Set up our tarps and our hammocks.
The winds are starting to whip up.
Yeah. And just as we get everything set up, the sky decides it's going to start, you know, letting loose.
Yeah.
So we got done before the rain.
Yeah.
In the dark.
Yes.
You see in the videos that you watch that there are lots of water in the kayaks.
Yes.
At that point.
I actually thought I'd sprung a leak.
Yeah.
I mean, not peed in there, but sprung a leak.
That was later? No? Oh, no. You kept saying it was just water from the paddles. That's what it was.
Right.
That's your story.
Yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right.
Speaking of peeing, there is a privy on the island.
Yeah, there was at each campsite, I think.
I had that great view of it, while you had a view of the lake.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, so we got everything set up, and that worked out pretty well. But because the kayaks were already broken down again, and then you had to set them back up, and if you wanted to bring your stuff with you, it just...
Very cumbersome and time-consuming.
Yes, we just decided we weren't going to do any kayaking.
Yeah.
We planned on originally kayaking around the island and around the lake a little ways, and maybe down to the marina and stuff, but instead
we took the jaunt to get firewood, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we put everything back together because it rained, of course, so everything was soaking wet.
Yeah.
And there is firewood on the island, you know, down trees and stuff that you can find, and you're able to burn that. Round up and burn it. We got a fire going the first morning.
Yeah.
By way of the pocket rocket. And half of our fuel.
3/4 of our fuel, I think. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably not a great idea. It's
Right.
probably not the safest thing in the world.
Especially since with that small canister of fuel.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Yeah.
but it's still not probably
Yeah.
safe to use the pocket rocket as a flamethrower.
Blowtorch, yeah. Okay.
But in an emergency, it does work. I don't suggest it though. I don't recommend it. And not safe.
Not
don't do it.
endorsing this. Don't do it.
If you do so, you do so at your own risk, and we're no longer responsible for anything that you do or say.
Exactly.
Or some disclaimer
Something
like
like
that. It's not our fault. We told you not
We
to.
need to add the blurb at the bottom of our video.
Don't do anything we do.
Please.
So we decided we would go back and get some of the dry campfire wood that they had.
Obviously, it was free.
Yeah.
So it's so nice of them to have it there all ready for everybody.
Yeah, because this is our first time ever staying in a campground, by the way.
Yeah.
So we put the kayaks back together. We paddle back across. Then I get in the car and I drive back up to the front and realize it's like $10 for 4 pieces of wood. Which we were going through, you know, a piece of wood every 20 minutes. So we're like, this could get really expensive. On the way back, though, I happened to see on one of the campsites somebody had left a bunch of their wood.
Right.
And-
yeah, they left probably before they burned it all.
Yeah. So they bought it and burned what they needed,
Yeah.
and then they left previous weekend or whatever. So we got over
Maneuvered that.
to that island and their campsite, and there's nobody there still, you know, of course. We were the only ones on the island still. And so we managed to load up about 5 or 6 pieces of wood,
Very large pieces.
large pieces of wood into the kayaks,
Very
on top of the
creative.
kayaks.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
Funny stories. Not PG.
We got it back to the
We got
campsite.
we got it back to the campsite. That's
all
the
that
moral of the
matters,
story.
really.
And so then we had some firewood to burn for
Yeah.
the next night.
Right.
And so while we're there, I'd always wanted to learn how to fly fish, and you know, you'd never been fly
No,
fishing. Or,
I've never been any fishing, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've gotten some fly rods, and I've always been afraid to do it, but I thought, you know, what the heck, let's just wing it and try and figure it out. And I was worried there was going to be like, you know, 7 knots every time you casted, or, you know, poles flying everywhere, all kinds of, any nightmare you can think about fly fishing, is as elegant as they make it look.
They really do, don't they?
Yeah. So, moral of the story is that if you want to learn how to fly fish,
Just
watch
do
a
it,
video or
yeah.
2, go out to a lake, preferably one without any trees on the shore.
Unless that's what you're trying to catch.
Yeah. And, you know, just cast. And we're by no means experts. I don't know that we could go to a stream and, you know, not catch more trees than fish, but we definitely got the hang of casting.
Mm-hmm.
She was getting really, really accurate, within probably 3 or 4 inches of everywhere she wanted to go. I was getting really good at casting far and changing the direction of where I wanted to cast out to, just in the course of a couple days.
Yeah.
Caught
7 fish.
7 fish, and that brings us to make sure that
You have a
wherever you
fishing
go,
license.
you are following local fishing rules and have a fishing license, because they do come out and check. Park rangers came around, and in Virginia, if you have the PDF on your phone, you don't need to actually have the paper license. They're
Yeah, you
good
can
with
do
that.
it right online and you get it right away.
Yeah, so we just had it on our phones, and they were actually pretty impressed that we caught any fish, because the island's so overfished from the shore that people aren't catching anything anymore there. So
That was pretty sweet.
we did good.
Yeah, we did really good. It was fun.
Yeah,
It was very fun.
for sure.
So, when we were talking about fire and food, so we could kind of transition into food with the whole, let's talk about food and
Mhm.
packing for our fears, because we're continuing to do that.
Yes,
You're coming home from trip number 3 and we have a back seat full of snacks.
exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, we have yet to hike at the point where you're going to get hiker hunger, but we still seem to think that, oh God, we might run out of food.
Yeah, we did 50 miles the first trip.
I
mean,
know, but not all, not all at once, you
Right.
know. It was spread out over 4 or 5 days,
Mhm.
4 days, I guess.
Yeah.
We're not hiking the AT yet. We're not 4 or 5 weeks. We're not going to get hiker hunger.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess the moral that we're going to try to live by next trip is, if you don't eat breakfast normally at home, then there's no need to bring breakfast. If you only eat lunch every other day, don't bring lunch for every day plus a few extra lunches just in case. So, it's packing for those fears. But a good thing that, ooh.
Well, it started getting dark, so I mean.
Woo! It's like Blair Witch.
I don't know. I'm trying to give us sunlight. Here, can we do this?
Okay, you're blinding me with science. I don't know about that. I guess it's okay. I just can't see. So
You can't see everybody watching us?
I know.
Well, there's a sunset behind us.
Oh, how pretty. Anyway, we're in Beckley, West Virginia. The point was that we did find a tried and true breakfast, because we're really not breakfast eaters.
Right.
But the powdered scrambled eggs in the yellow package at REI are the bomb. But you have to make sure that you use olive oil. No olive oil means scorched eggs.
No matter how low you have the heat.
And it just cooks way too fast and it scorches. But if you use the olive oil just a little bit, put the eggs in and then add the bacon bits, put it on a wrap. Oh. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, that's a keeper. But we used way too much fuel starting the fire with the blowtorch method that we then couldn't do the other round of scrambled eggs and bacon. But anyway, we have a good go-to meal going forward. So that was packing to our fears.
Yeah.
So we're going to get better.
Moral of the story is just pack what you would normally eat during the course of a day.
One thing we didn't talk about back on the rain, and that was the first time that we camped in the rain.
Yes.
And I think my fear was that tarp was nowhere near going to be long enough. And it was a different tarp than we used this trip.
Right.
And it was fine.
Yeah.
We didn't get wet. Neither one of us, our hammocks didn't get wet.
No. As long as it's as long as a little bit longer than your hammock.
Yeah.
You just
You're fine.
put it down and it's fine.
Yeah. And the more that you can get accustomed to what direction the wind is coming from and the way that you're hanging your hammock, that would be a tip from this trip.
Yeah. We'll get to that one.
Get better at that. What else?
I think that's about it.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Okay. We highly recommend that you go there. And also, we were told by one of the locals that there's a pizza place that delivers to
the marina.
To the marina. They raved about it, swore by it, so we didn't get a chance to try it out, but that is an option for you. And check out the Dairy Queen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Right. See you next video.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.